Welcome to the last part of this class. Here we will talk about technologies in autonomous system. What we mean by these technologies? Actually, if you see here, I convert or I rewrite the same topic by different way. Here you see what technologies do we need for designing and implementing the autonomous system. So there we talk about the hardware. So here are some technologies which is related to the software. Software, for example, okay, we say uh, after receiving the information, what we need in terms of the software, we need to process this data. If you are, for example, if you're using the sensor or using the camera sensor, we can consider it as a sensor, as I told you before, the camera sensor. After you receive the information or you receive this photo, so what you have to do, what technologies use it. Okay, it's just in quick, we'll not go for details. So this is about this topic. So here, in general, we can say we have the plan technologies. We have acting and receive technologies. We have testing technologies. If you see, guys, as I told you, not only designing, we have design and testing and also implementing these uh, systems. So first one is the planning. So the planning, of course, is this. This is you can relate to the previous topic, which is the artificial intelligence. Planning actually it's based on artificial intelligence. Okay, acting and perceive. It's all is related to the AI, but maybe is by different way. There we can maybe say, okay, processing the data, for example, in acting and perceiving in technologies. So the planning, it's in the planning, the ability to select the appropriate action. Okay, so based on the current situation, we have to find the appropriate action. So here, what we can say, what methods or what technologies do we need to do that? So here in the planning, we have to use something like machine learning. We have to use something like decision making, also fuzzy logic. So these technologies, it's used for plan for the next step. So in the plan, actually, also we have, if you remember last week, we have something. Okay, we have the goal. We have the goal, and then we want to achieve that goal. So based on that goal, we will find what's the best action, and then so here, guys, in the next slide, you will see the best action, or we can say the appropriate. We cannot say the best because we in the machine learning or in the AI in general, we just find maybe the optimum, not the best. The optimum actually something is near the best, something uh, not exactly the best. Maybe will be the best, maybe will be the best, but we are not guarantee or it's not guarantee to be the best because just based on some methods, like as we say, is the machine learning. So they just guess, okay, so maybe based on this input, we can say this action is the we can say the optimum or the appropriate action. So this is just appropriate action. So all is based on the input as well, based on some stored information. Stored information. Okay, here guys, here maybe this show how is the planner or planning in general. So here you have the input, you have you have database, you have also the input, you have the input. So this is just diagram to show you how it's work. I mean planner with other systems. So you have here the planner or the creating plan. So it will be based on the information from the environments. The database stores some we can say is pre-action and also based on the previous or based on the main goal, based on the main goal. So this one actually all is goes to uh, appropriate action, and then implement this appropriate action using the executable plan. So guys, here does this figure or show how is the planner its work with other components of the system. So here maybe guys is more about what I have told you is what's I mean this is how it's work for this figure, how this figure is work. If you see here, starting relay, receive the information, analyze the information, and then based on okay, and then perform where result is from the execution. Okay, same what I told you. I mean, receive the information from the database and from the environment as well, based on uh, the goal of the system, and then create some plan and then act and execute this act. So the second one, the second technology is we have the act and receive. So here, what we mean by the act and receive. Okay, if you see in that figure here, we say we have after we make the planner, we make the plan, we have to act. We have to act, and then this one is actually when we talk about the act, we talk about the actuators. When we talk about the act, we talk about the actuators, where we talk about the actuators. Okay, so the action is do the, or we can say it's implement or execute the plan. Execute the plan. So here we need the output device to execute the plan. So as we say, it's just maybe here we can just moving something, also can be also opening something. Okay, okay, drive the train or starting the bomb. So all of them, it's just kind of acting. Okay, so how about the perceive? Perceive actually we have uh, the information need to be analyzed, the information need to be processed. So here in the perceive, for example, okay, you receive I told you, you receive the photo from this camera. So you want to act, you cannot act until you analyze this information and you see what's the meaning of this information or this photo. So here we can say, if you remember last time I told you, there we talk about the sensors. It's similar to that. So we have here receiving. So the sensing is the, we can say is the software that, or we can say is the another word for sensors. Okay, so we have to sense this information. I mean, analyze this information. So here, what information? What because we're talking about the technologies. So what technologies do we need? What technologies do we need? So here, this is the technologies. As we say, you have now the photo. The photo actually also is a digital, zero or one, or some, okay, it's digital. It's digital. So you just use this information by using some technologies, something like image processing, if you're talking about the camera. So we have to use these technologies to convert this information into another, or we can say in this data, because just photo, we don't know this is just zero or one, or just use a unique coding. So we have to convert this data to another type of data. So here we use, for example, image processing. So this kind of technology that use for in receiving or analyzing the information in these data. Here actually this is another example here, another example, and I told you some limitation actually for this. For example, for the image and signal processing, actually we can say this is expensive because it take times. Also, it's take energy for image processing. We just because we are talking here about the image processing. But this is the technology that we use. Okay, maybe for another kind of input, we have another kind of processing or another kind of analyzing technologies. Data versions. Okay, guys, this one after receiving the information and you are working with maybe many kind of sensors, many type of sensors, maybe only to do the same job, So here maybe you have uh, camera, to find to give you a photo, okay, to give you the current photo of the place. You have another sensor to measure the distance, okay. So later, the job of this technology is to process all of this, or we can say is to make a decision based all of them. Because now maybe you take some information about the current situation, Where are you? As a robot, you want to move. For example, your job to want to move from this place to another place, or you want to move forward. Let's say forward. Okay, so you take photo by the camera. Also, you take photo or you measure the distance. You have another sensor to measure the distance. So what the next? You process this information. And then this technology, data version, is just to combine all the information. It's coming from different source, combine them, and then based on this, maybe we can make a decision. Okay, this is the job of this data version. So what else? This is the similar. This is just maybe many questions related to this. This because now you will get some problem here now when you have many resource. For example, as we say here, you want to move forward, and you have the photo here. Maybe they show there is obstacle in front of you. Okay, and the same thing here, this information is coming from the other resource or this sensor, which is the measurement, the distance sensor. They say there is no obstacle. Oh, there is way. So here maybe there is some question related to this problem here. They say there is some, for example, will be a conflict data. So what you have to do and what technology do you want to use? So this is maybe more details about this topic. Okay, so maybe something like this, maybe you have to use something we call it is Pareto France, because when you have uh, multi object multi objective, so we have another technologies to use. Okay, so this is some problem related to data version. So if we come to maybe this is the last topic, which is the testing technologies. Okay, what we have to do in the testing technologies. In testing technologies, actually, after designing the system, after that we have to test your system or your at all the machine. So you have also to find if the design, because we are designing, just our topic is to design. So is your design meet or does your design meet the requirement or not? So what you have to do here, we have to test. So in our methods, in our subject, we will test this design. We will not test the methods, or we will not test the real system. So how we can test it? We can generate a simulation. We can develop a simulation. So here in ours, we will develop a software simulation. In our project, in our subject, we will develop a software simulation. There is also, you can develop a software, a hardware simulation. For example, okay, you design, for example, self-car driving. You can make small car, and then try this car with your design or with your system, or I mean, you in the something like real. But in fact, this is also simulation. So here, this is the method that we use. We can define or we can develop simulation, and then try this the system. And the second things, we can also use a simulation, but this simulation is not simulation. Actually, here there is another kind of testing. Also, we can use simulation libraries. For example, here if I give you example of this, what we mean by simulation libraries. Actually, for example, if you not this is not we cannot say we cannot use it in our methods, no need in our subject. For example, in networking, I remember one of my friend when he do his PhD, he worked in simulation, and then he used some simulation with with libraries. What we mean by the libraries? Okay, when you send, for example, when you send your message, for example, from this PC to this PC, so you have here the path to send. So this library actually can show them how many bit it's sent per second, for example. Okay, and then you can control, okay, I want to send only, for example, in this path is only for example, the capacity of this path only, for example, 5 bit per second, while the capacity of this path is, for example, 10. So you see here we have library can help us, also can help us. So the third one actually also is a simulation, but is a different between this and the previous. It's we are working on server. So in our topic actually we will develop a simulation, but in our subject, not topic, we will develop a simulation. Actually, I will give you a class in the one I have. I can give, which is one of the verification methods. So we will develop a simulation. That simulation can show you what for example, you say, okay, we have this sensor now. The sensor is connected, for example, with this system, and then this send this information, and this react like this. So we will develop a model, and then we try to check this, the one I highlight, the requirement. We just focus about the requirement. Does the requirement meet, or does the design meet our requirement or not? Okay, guys. So this one only that we can do in our subject. We will develop a model or simulation. You can say is a model, and then we can go to for simulation to check either our design meet the requirement or not. Also, if you want to go for more details to verify the system, for example, you have as I mentioned here, for example, you have here this path can send 5 bit per second, and this can send 10 bit per second. So if you say, for example, maybe you want to verify if I use this one, for example, for 5 second or 10 second, can I send exactly 10 multiply 5 bit? Can I exactly receive 50 bit? Something like this. More verify some properties. So this is, guys, this is about the testing. We will do what we can say is our best to test our system, also the design that we will develop it. So this is the different type of, guys, this is actually, I have to delete it. No. So guys, this is in general, guys, if we talk about the input and the output, that's why I told you something like we summarize now. In the beginning, we talk about the design or the hardware design of the system, and here in general we say we have some input should be sent to the system, and this input it's received using maybe external user, external system, external device. So this one will be receiving by using these things. Okay, so this one external user, you will see there is a little bit different actually in our topic. In our topic, we say external user something, if anything related to the keyboard. Okay, if external system is, the external system, for example, you have the ATM machine. Okay, and this ATM machine is receive the information from the user, receive it from, but also it can also receive from the bank, right? So this is, we can say, is external system. External device, which is, for example, okay, the card reader. This is external device. Okay, so this is the system receive the information from that card. We have the output, external output device, external system also can, okay, for example, you can print, for example, if we talk about the ATM, you can print the system, print the receipt. As well, you have to set this information to the bank, so the external device. So also something is related also, as I say here, also we have to read and update the stored information as well. I talk, okay, to the another device or another system. So just the first one and the second one, it's the output and input. So guys, this is the last slide. So also is related to input and output, related to the today class. What's the input and the output device of this of autonomous micro? If we consider this is autonomous, okay, I can explain, okay, the microwave. If we say is autonomous, okay, this autonomous system just put the foot, and then close the door. Okay, and this microwave will work autonomously. Will check what kind of food, what the weight of food, and then based on that, they will start. And off and on, it's based on the type and the weight of your food. So guys, if we talk about the input, what input device do we have in this system?
Maybe sir, the weight sensor.
Okay, this is the first. Okay, good. Next, same. Okay, guys, here, if you see, if we consider this is autonomous, and we can say is the first one, it's when we start, for example, calculate the weight, and when after close the door. So the first one, it's, we can say, the door sensor. We have the contact sensor. We can say, no, okay, just say door sensor, not even contact or another type of sensors. So the first one is the weight sensor. No, the door sensor. So what next? The door sensor, just once you close the door, immediately the light maybe can off. So the light will be output sensor, or we can say it's output device. So we have the first one, it's the light, the weight, and then what else? Door, light, weight. What else? Maybe one more only. Guys, the main function of this microwave, what? Start heating.
To heat the food.
Yes, that we can see is the heating. Yes, okay. Just use your own word, no problem. Don't say, oh, what's word. So guys, we can say this one. Also one things also. Okay, the door sensor. As I told you, the weight sensor and so the light sensor. So these two, we can say this is the input, or no, between keypad. No keypad here. You can say, okay, if we say no keypad, okay. So, or we can say also the keypad. The second, for output, maybe just once you close the door and then calculate the weight and calculate everything, and then display the information. So we can say here we have also as an output device, we can say it's display. Also as an output, it's maybe guys, this is, we can see this here the actuator. The heating is the actuator because it will start running now. Heating as also output, and this is, we can say, is input also input. Okay guys, just see, for today we just want to learn this thing. Once you find, you just try to classify your input and output. Okay, based on this information that we learn, just to classify, okay, this is input, this is output, and then later we will use this information to design the system or design the model. So guys, that's all for today.